We are in like a second demo session today, where we'll again discuss regarding few of the things, and from the next session onwards, we'll go through with different things, different setting up, like real-time environment setup, and so on. When we start with, where we start with like TypeScript and Playwright setting up over there. Now, in our session today, we have set some kind of agenda. Yesterday, we talked about mainly like the course regarding the courses that we are going through, that we'll be going through, that we are going to start over here, right? And there we discussed mainly regarding what is the course, why you should join the course, and what are the things that will be covering up in terms of the course content, right? In our today's session, we'll talk about what is the major advantage that we have in terms of working with Playwright test automation. So we'll see like advantage over here. We'll see like advantage over here. Advantage of Playwright. Then we'll see like what is the advantage over the other tools and technology that are available in the market, which are again popular, which is like Selenium and Cypress. And then we'll also see like few achievements by the batch, like recently finished batch that we have finished in the month of February, which was on Feb 10. So these things we'll see in terms of again our course agenda today. And meanwhile, like while we'll be going through the points of the advantage that we'll be going through, we'll also show you that how does generally Playwright work. I already have some other things set up over here, so I'll show you like how does it generally work by opening through the course, the previous batch, some kind of courses that we have gone through, some kind of topics that we have gone through. We'll show you that as well while we go through with the advantage of the Playwright. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll take like first couple of minutes to see if you people have any kind of questions from the previous session, and then I'll start with that. We'll give couple of minutes. We are like 2010, 2012. I'll start with the advantage of. So if you have any kind of questions, feel free to ask. If you have joined for the first time today, again, you can ask any type of questions. If you have missed in like yesterday's session, again, you can ask if you would like to ask any kind of questions over here for the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, hi Praveen.
Hi.
Yeah, just one question. Like, what is the difference between Playwright with JavaScript and Playwright with TypeScript?
Okay. The normal will be extension difference between JavaScript and TypeScript. But mostly,
Yeah.
majorly, if I talk about, uh, there will be a slight difference, only like 5% type of difference. Apart from that, will be nothing. I'll show you that as well in our session today, so that you'll understand. If I talk about, probably you will not understand. I'll show you the difference over here because I have conducted many sessions for Playwright TypeScript, Playwright JavaScript.
Mhm.
So probably I'll show you the code and then you'll understand.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question from anyone else?
And Praveen, the course duration would be how 2 months.
It would be around 35 to maximum 40 hours of sessions. So probably it will go around for 7 to 8 weeks, 7 to 8 weeks.
Seven.
So
Okay.
if we count like um, Saturday and Sunday, that will be like completely 2 months
Hmm.
of time. But usually it ends up within like 7 weeks or 7.5 weeks.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get started. Anyone is trying to ask any question?
Yeah, Saturday Sunday is off for the class.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so let's get started then. I see like most of the students have joined over here. There are a couple of students have pinged me, but let's join them. They can join in between as well. So yesterday we talked about course content, and in our today's session we'll talk about generally the playwright. Why playwright? What is the advantage of playwright, and so on. Okay. So this advantage of playwright I have given inside our document as well, which I have prepared for complete playwright using playwright TypeScript, and this will be again similar document for the playwright JavaScript as well. Okay. So I've also given like the architecture difference between Selenium, Playwright, architecture for the Playwright, and there are few of the advantages that I've listed over here. There are many more, but few of them, which is like major and which basically highlights, have given over here. Now, most of you yesterday said that like you have like 40% of the strength, which were yesterday, have said that they have already worked on some other tools and technologies. So they might be knowing and they will be knowing whatever I'm going to talk about over here. So why generally people and why generally the organization are moving towards Playwright? So one major advantage that Playwright has given is Playwright has auto weighting concept. So when we talk about auto weighting concept, that means Playwright, whenever we write any kind of test case using Playwright, you do not have to take care anything in terms of synchronization. Synchronization means waiting for an element to be visible on the page. If you have worked with Selenium, you might be knowing that whenever you are trying to work with any of the elements, uh, which also involves loading of the page, we generally wait for an element to be displayed on the page or enabled on the page, and then we go for interaction of the element, right? We generally wait for an element to be visible on the page, and then we interact with the element. Playwright does that automatically. Playwright by default does the automatically waiting for the element. That means unless and until the element is visible on the page, Playwright will wait for the element, whatever the element that you are trying to interact with on the page. And once it is visible on the page, then only it will start interaction. For that, we do not have to write any single line of code. The auto waiting concept that it has is for 30 seconds. Now, what is meant by that? Let's try to see what I'm talking over here. So we have something known as auto wait. So let's see what Playwright says. We'll move to the Playwright documentation over here, and what it is saying in their language. Let's try to see it. So what it says is, whenever we try to interact with any of the element, let's say if you are trying to click on any of the element, what generally we check in terms of Selenium or in other tools and technologies, we'll also try to write few lines of code either by implicit wait or explicit wait to say that element is visible on the page and element is enabled on the page so that it will be clickable, so that we can click on the element. Whenever we have to perform any clicking operation on any of the element, Playwright by default will ensure that the locator is matching with one single element is visible on the page, element is stable on the page, element is not getting obstructed by any other element, and also element is enabled. So all these 5 steps that you see will be automatically taken care by the Playwright. We do not have to use any weighting concept, which is implicit weight or explicit weight that we use in terms of Selenium. That means Playwright, if let's say if the any of the application is taking some kind of time to load the application, right? And meanwhile, if you try to interact with any of the element, Playwright by default will wait for 30 seconds. It has given the flexibility that you can also override the 30 seconds. You can make it to 100 seconds or 200 seconds, whatever is required depending on your organization. But by default, if you do not provide any timeout, by default, it will wait for 30 seconds for any of the element to be available on the page. Even if something is not getting displayed or some element is not being enabled on the page after 30 seconds, then it will generally fail. But it has given a provision that we can also override the 30 seconds. Let's see an example. Where can you write or where can you override this? So this is a configuration file which will understand after probably 2 weeks of time, where we see one of our option. This is a configuration file, global configuration file, where we see one of our option known as timeout. And here I have given 60 seconds. That means if you do not give this 60 seconds, Playwright will by default wait for 30 seconds. If you want to override that 30 seconds and want to increase the timeout time, that you can mention it over here inside the configuration file. It's a simple, you do not have to write any single line of code inside your test automation, inside your test case, and inside any other places. You just have to say inside the configuration file, which is playwright.config.ts, and there we have to mention timeout colon some values, whatever the value that you want to provide inside the code. Okay, so this is again a major advantage that Playwright has given, where it by default wait for an element for 30 seconds without even writing the code. If you remove this line, say if you just remove this particular line, still Playwright will wait for 30 seconds for any of the element if it is not visible on the page. Okay, and this have not been given by any other tools in the market. Cypress has given, but Cypress has a by default waiting time of only 4 seconds. 4 seconds is a very minimal. Nowadays, like application used to take 3-4 seconds to load itself. Right, some of the heavy applications will take like 4-5 seconds of time to completely load on the page. Right, Cypress has given 4 seconds to by default to wait for an element, whereas Playwright has given 30 seconds for any of the element to it will wait for 30 seconds for any of the element to be displayed on the page, and then it will perform if it has not loaded. That doesn't mean if the element has loaded, then it will still wait for 30 seconds. No, if the element has already loaded, then it will keep on working on whatever the operation that we are trying to perform. Okay, so it will keep on waiting for that. Probably even, let's say if the element have been displayed after a milliseconds, it will start working on that within a milliseconds itself. Okay. I see like someone has raised a hand over here.
Yes,
Yes.
I has raised, but you answered my question. I was about to ask that timeout is for entire test case to finish or just for that web element to appear, but you already answered that. Thank you.
Okay, great. Now second one that we have over here is this works on major browser. So Playwright supports major browser that are available in the market, which is Chromium, like Chrome, Microsoft Edge, Firefox, Safari. All these kind of browser will be supported by Playwright. Now you might be having a question, okay, Selenium also does support. Yes, Selenium also support all these things, but then what is the difference between Playwright over here? So if you see the system that I'm using over here is Windows operating system, right? This is a Windows operating system, and I do not have Safari browser available over here. If you see, I do not have Safari browser. This is for searching. I do not have Safari browser installed in my system. Okay, that means Playwright says that even if you do not have any of the browser installed inside your system, if you do not, if you even if you do not have any of the browser installed in your system, whatever the test case that you run, that will run on that specific browser. Let's see what I mean to say over here. So let's say um, I have one single example, which is this one. Let's forget about what it is doing, but this is one of our test case that we have written in terms of Playwright. Okay, and for this, let's do one thing that I am trying to use instead of Chromium. Again, do not worry. Like, how are we defining? All these things will go in a detailed manner. I'm just going through with the advantage. So that is where I'm also trying to show you side by side. That will give you a better idea what I'm talking instead of just going through a theoretical part. Okay. So what I've done is I have enabled Safari browser over here. Okay. I've enabled Safari browser, which is known as WebKit in terms of Playwright. I do not have WebKit or Safari browser available. I do not have WebKit. Okay. And I do not have Safari browser available inside my system. This is for searching. If you click on this, this will take us to the browser over here. Okay, these are the things that are not available that we are now sure for. I mean, we are sure that we do not have Safari browser. Now let's go ahead and run the test case that we are trying to run. So this is the test case that we are trying to run, and we'll see that even if I do not have the Safari browser available in my system, this will start running the test case on Safari browser. That you can see, like, this is a Safari browser, WebKit. It says that WebKit, right? This is a Safari browser. And that is what the advantage that we have in terms of working with Playwright. In terms of Selenium, you need to have browser installed inside your system. And that is where the advantage that we have in terms of Playwright over Selenium. Though Selenium also supports most of the language, but Playwright has advantage that it does not require you to download any kind of browser or install any kind of browser inside your system. It will automatically open the browser, whatever the browser that you are trying to run, and will basically run or execute the test cases on those browsers. Okay. Third option that we have over here is it also works on different operating system, which is similar to the Selenium. Selenium also does work on all the operating system. That means whatever the code that you write for Windows, MacBook, or Linux will work on any of the operating system in the same way. Okay, but one advantage that it has given in Playwright will work on the mobile emulation of Google Chrome for Android phone and mobile iOS in terms of Safari browser. That means it says that whatever the code that we have written over here, so let's say whatever the code that we have written over here for the web automation testing, the same code you can run on the mobile specific browser as well. So mobile specific browser means by default for Android, there'll be a Google Chrome, which you can see over here. For mobile, we have and for Android, we have this mobile Chrome as a Chrome browser will be by default browser option, and for iPhone will be a Safari by default option, right? Now let's try to run this particular test case and see what is happening now. So the same test case that we have written for the web automation testing will work on the mobile emulation of browser as well. If the application is supported over here, then the same test case will work on the mobile browser as well. This was for Android that we have enabled over here, and you can also enable the Safari browser for iPhone over here. Now, when we try to run this test case, you'll see that this will run on Safari browser of iPhone. You can see that this is a Safari browser, which is WebKit for iPhone, and that is why it is displaying in this iPhone manner itself. However, iPhone browser displays in terms of iPhone. Okay. Okay. I'll come to you. I believe like someone has raised a hand. I'll come to you in the next couple of minutes. So Playwright works with any of the language. Yes, this is again a major advantage that we have in terms of Playwright, that Playwright also supports most of the popular languages that are available in the market, which is JavaScript, TypeScript, Java, Python, C Sharp, and so on. Selenium also does support, whereas if we talk about Cypress, Cypress only supports JavaScript and TypeScript. Okay, Cypress only supports JavaScript and TypeScript. So this is again an added advantage for the Playwright. Whoever earlier were working on Selenium, they can easily move from Selenium to Playwright, whatever the language that they are trying to use. They can also go for Playwright using Java. They can also go for Playwright using Python and so on. Okay, now let's again move back to someone. I believe like someone has raised a hand. I'm not sure someone has raised, but I believe might have been answered. But if you still have, you can stop me. Instead of raising the hand, I probably do not see on this particular screen for more than 2 seconds. But if you
Hi, Praveen,
want
this
to
is
ask,
Vikas.
hey,
Sorry to
Vikas.
interrupt. Yeah, I raised the hand, and basically the doubt was that in the automatically timeout handling of the feature that Playwright is offering. So there you mentioned that we can also override that automatic handling of the timeout before. I mean, whether checking the that element is visible and enabled or not. So in that, is there any polling interval time also supported, or we can override that also? Or what is the default
Right.
value for that?
You can override that. But the default
Mhm.
value used to be 30 seconds. There used to be a polling time as well, which generally takes for 500 milliseconds. And
Mhm.
every 500 milliseconds, it used to check whether the element appeared on the page or not. So it keeps on
Okay.
retrying. It keeps on checking whether the element. It is similar to explicit wait that we use using fluent wait in terms of Selenium, if you have worked with
Mhm.
Selenium. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So by default time used to be 30 seconds, but you can override that as well.
Mhm. Okay. Okay.
And that we have just seen
And
inside the configuration file.
okay.
Inside the configuration file, you can change it to timeout : some values, and that will get changed. So
Mhm.
if you see over here, this is the configuration file, and here you can mention some kind of timeout. So if you want to override that, you can go inside this configuration file and mention a timeout as, let's say, 60 seconds. So that is
Oh,
always doable as well in terms of uh, overriding the timeout.
okay. Yeah.
Okay, great. Now Playwright specific things. A few of the points that we are that we are going to talk about is Playwright specific things. So Playwright has given some kind of features. Playwright has given some kind of features, and those features are one of them are traces. So what is traces over here? So traces is similar to the log file that we generate. When you work with Selenium, we take the help of third-party tool. When we work with Selenium, we take the help of third-party tool, which is like log4j to generate the logging mechanism, right? By taking the third-party tool, like taking the help of third-party tool. Whereas Playwright says that you do not have to take any third-party tool to even generate a log. Automatically, Playwright will generate the each and every step that we'll be using in terms of the execution. So it will also generate the traces by default. That will be a complete log detail. Second thing is, it will also take this screenshot automatically. We do not even have to write a single line of code to take this screenshot. This is again an advantage for Playwright over Selenium, because to take this screenshot in terms of Selenium, we have to take the help of third-party tool, which is known as commons.io. Again, in terms of Selenium, to take this screenshot for any of the page, we have to depend on the third-party tool, which is known as commons.io. Playwright says that I'll generally generate the screenshot by default, and you do not have to take anything. I'll show you that as well. Third advantage that it says is it also generates the video recording of the test cases, test execution. It also generates the recording of the test execution by default. We do not have to write even a single line of code. But if you try to write in terms of Selenium, that will be, you'll again have to take the help of third-party tool, and that will be at least 25 to 30 lines of code to start the recording, to end the recording, and so on. Okay. Now you might be knowing, some of you definitely might be knowing flaky test. Sometimes the test will get failed, and why the test case will get failed is it might not be a genuine bug, or it might not be a genuine coding issue. There can be an issue regarding, let's say, environment issues, application slowness issues, or let's say application downtime, right? So what generally do in those time at those point of time is we try to automatically run the test case. We try to automatically run the test case, right? That is known as retries. That means we'll rerun the same test case to check if it is really failing or if it is really bug or not. Those kind of values, those kind of retries mechanism, Playwright will also does by self, by default. Again, for that, we do not have to write even a single line of code. Now let's move back to this. I've earlier ran the code, right? Ran some kind of test case, which was for this one, right? Let's try to see what is happening. Let me run once again for Chrome browser that we have earlier disabled. Okay, I'll just disable the mobile specific things, and let's try to run it once again. This time I'm trying to run on the Chrome browser over here. This time I'm trying to run on Chrome browser. Let's see what is happening. So on this Chrome browser, application has opened, it started doing some kind of values and all, and have been completed. Now let's see what is happening over here. So let's try to open the report. Report will be opened inside Playwright reports, and there is something known as index.html. So this index.html will be generated by default by Playwright. Okay, now let's go over here and copy paste the URL that we have copied. And inside this, you can open this, and you'll see that all the steps that it has followed, everything have been mentioned over here. All the steps that it has gone through, everything have been mentioned over here. If you click on this, you will also be able to see which line of code that have been executed over here. Okay, for each and every lines of code, it has generated, and it is saying what we are trying to do and which code is trying to execute over here. These are the things which will be very important in terms of debugging purpose. Whenever our test case get failed, this will help in terms of debugging the code. You can see that screenshot have also been taken. We did not write even a single line of code. If you see this line, we have written launch the URL, fill the first name, fill the first name as some kind of value, then click on the last name, fill the last name, and so on. But there is none of the code that it have been if we cannot see, like, I mean, we don't see any code over here which is saying we are taking this screenshot or we are trying to write any kind of recording over here, right? That is what we can see over here. But if you see in terms of the report, it is taking the screenshot. It has generated the traces. This trace is something which you can see that it generally displays in a line banner. This I'll show you in some time with this traces, that how does it work. And you can also see the recording that it had generated over here for the complete test execution over here. So if you see, this is the test recording that it had generated and attached inside the report as well. Okay, you can see that what it has done, where it has failed, and so on. All the things have been captured inside the recording as well. Okay, so this is again an advantage which none of the tool will give us automatically. Playwright does it automatically for us. We do not have to write even a single line of code. Now, another tool that Playwright has given is known as inspector tool. Playwright inspector tool. So Playwright has given one inspector tool which will help us in debugging, which will help us in executing the code, and so on. There will be a lot of things that we can check in terms of Playwright inspector tool. These used to be also a time travel as well. If you have worked with Cypress, then there is a terminology known as time travel. The similar things are applicable over here as well in terms of Playwright. Let me show you that kind of things. So to open the inspector tool, um, you will not understand the command for now, but let's open a inspector tool that Playwright has given. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to open an inspector tool over here. This is somehow let me open for other test case. I think there are I know why it is happening, but let's try to open over here. So npx playwright test --ui. So you'll see one of a tool will open over here that is known as Playwright Inspector tool. This is a tool which will generally help us, will be very handy in terms of debugging purpose. If your test case have been failed, you can directly open the UI part, which is also known as Inspector tool, Playwright Inspector tool, and this will help us in debugging. How does it help us in debugging? Whatever the test case that you have written over here, whatever the test case that you have written over here, every test case will display on this particular Playwright Inspector tool. And from here as well, you can simply click on this and it will start running the test. It will basically start execution of the test case. So you can see that it has started execution of the test cases over here. Okay, this was one of a test case that we have used for drag and drop purpose. Now, what is the advantage or why it is so helpful in terms of debugging? Let's see what happens over here. So what happens over here is we launch this particular URL. You can see actions. You can also see what happened before execution of this step. That means you can also see what happened before execution of the step and after execution of the step as well. What happened after the application have been launched. Next, again, go to the actions and then see what is happening for the next step. Next step is locator.drag to, and it is highlighting over here that will be the next action will be performed on this particular element. So you can see like this is highlighting over here with red color, right? Red circle. This means it is saying that next action will be performed on this particular element. What happened before? Nothing. What happened after? It have been dragged to this particular place. Okay. You can also see again for the next step as well, what happened before, what happened after, everything will be performed. So what happened after is, it is saying that in terms of action, you can see that it is saying next action will be performing this. What happened before? Nothing. What happened after? This have been identified on the page. Okay. So this will help you in terms of basically check like where the test case or where the test step have been failed and so on. Right, so this will be again an easiest way where we can debug the things. Not only that, if there will be any kind of error, that will also display inside the errors tab over here. Errors tab over here. If there are any kind of attachment, that will also display over here. If there are any kind whatever the network call that have been made, if you would like to see that, that will also display inside this network tab. It is saying there are 22 network tabs like API have been called in terms of working with drag and drop. Okay, so this is the inspector tool which will help us in debugging purpose. You can also see the like step-by-step execution, and also you can see like what happened before and what happened after the execution of the test. Okay, now a couple of things. As I have already talked about this yesterday, that Playwright also supports API testing. So Playwright has built-in support for the API libraries. We again do not have to depend on any third-party tool. It automatically supports for API testing as well. Okay. Another one which is known as CodeGen. CodeGen is a tool which will generate the automatically scripts, which I'll show you other time. But if you try to open the opening of the CodeGen is something like this. How do we open the CodeGen? Is npx playwright. CodeGen is a tool. What is CodeGen? CodeGen is a tool which will generally help us in generating this script, generating the test automation script. So let's say what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to navigate to, let's say, google.com. Okay, I've navigated here, and then let's say I'm trying to just click on Gmail. I clicked on this Gmail, and then after that, I clicked on this Gmail, and then let's display the Gmail over here. Looks like my network is very slow today. Okay, so I clicked on this, and then I'm saying that let's say if this particular or create an account is displaying over here or not. So I'm just saying that create an account. Okay, create an account is displaying over here or not. That means I'm just trying to write an assertion over here. Now you might have seen there were one tool known as CodeGen have been opened over here. This is known as Playwright Inspector. And this Playwright Inspector is helping us in generating the code by just navigating through inside the application, navigating inside the application. You can see that it has started writing the code. It has written a test case in terms of Playwright and saying we have navigated to google.com, clicked on Gmail, and then after this one, it is saying that this particular element to be visible on the page. So it has written an assertion by using expect function. Expect function will help us in writing the assertion. That means, again, we do not have to depend on any third-party tool to work with assertion in terms of Playwright. Okay, so this CodeGen tool, even in terms of our courses, I'll be starting, I'll basically explain you at the end of our session. That means once we complete like basic and advanced. Because if I show you in the initial stage, probably most of the people will start using that as well, that itself. And then probably there will be a chances that you will not get most of the concept in terms of if you directly start working with CodeGen. Okay. And then this one, which is again a major advantage that we have to handle shadow DOM elements in terms of Selenium used to be a nightmare kind of thing. At least for me, in the initial days when I was working on Selenium, it used to be a nightmare. I had taken 3 days to handle a simple shadow DOM element. What is shadow DOM element? I'll explain. If I explain now, that will be overwhelming for us. But let's try to see what is happening in terms of Selenium. So shadow DOM, shadow DOM handling using Selenium. So what happened in general in terms of shadow DOM handling is generally shadow DOM used to be an element which used to be hidden on the page, which generally used to be hidden on the page, which will be not visible on the page. Okay, so to handle those scenarios used to be very difficult in terms of any of the tools and technology. If you work with Selenium, then let me show you the code that it has written over here. Open. So if you see the code for shadow DOM element over here, okay, this is the code that you can see over here. This is it has written for shadow DOM element. So what it is saying is it will find out a shadow host. I'll talk about this in detail, but what generally it will do is it will find out the host one. After that, it will try to find out the root one. Root will be available inside host, and then it will be basically try to interact with the element. Let's say if there are nested shadow element. Shadow elements is a bit difficult. I'll try to explain in the later part of our session. But but if there are nested shadow hosts, I'll try to show you if we have the application over here with the examples. Yes. So this is the application that you can see. If you try to inspect this search field, you can see that there is something known as shadow root, again shadow root, another shadow root, and inside this search box is available. We have ID over here. So whenever we have an ID in terms of CSS selector to write the locator, we say it as hash and then ID, hash and then ID. And you can see that though we have written the correct locator, it is not able to identify on the page. It is basically not able to identify on the page. This is what used to be in terms of what used to be a complexity in terms of working with shadow DOM elements. Playwright says that though there are multiple types of shadow root over here, which is a nested shadow root. This is a main shadow root. Inside this, another shadow root. Inside this, another. Inside this, another. And then we have the elements, right? So to handle these scenarios, we'll be handling this in a proper way. We do not require anything that it has written in terms of that we have to go to a shadow host, then we have to go to shadow root, then identify the element. If there are nested elements, then we have to write it for nested one. Then we have to write it for nested one. You can see over here, first shadow host, then again it has gone to the next shadow host, again nested shadow host, then it is trying to identify, right, over here. Whereas Playwright says that you do not have to write any single line of code to handle with shadow DOM element. We'll be able to handle it in a proper way. That means without even trying to do any such things over here. Okay, so these are a few of them. Going forward, when we start our courses, you'll also see the advantage that we'll have in terms of our Playwright. Okay, any question till now if you have anything?
Praveen, can you explain the second last point regarding that Node.js?
This is again, as I said earlier, that Playwright have been developed using JavaScript and TypeScript. So majorly, most of the people and most of the organization are using Playwright, basically using Playwright using either JavaScript or TypeScript. So what it says is Playwright is designed based on the Node.js. So using the Node.js server, it have been designed. That means Node.js used to be similar to a JRE. JRE we have in terms of Java. Node.js used to be JavaScript runtime environment. Whatever the code that we write using Java, using JavaScript, Node.js will help us in running that code. That is what it is saying. Playwright have been designed based on the Node.js. That means it have been developed using JavaScript. So the majority of the people follow Playwright using JavaScript, either JavaScript or TypeScript. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Great. Any question? Any other question that you people have over here?
Praveen, I have one question here. Like shadow rooted element, how can we find out that exactly the element that we can capture the XPath?
Right. So shadow DOM element you'll never be able to handle using XPath. So for that we have to write CSS selector or Playwright specific. That will anyways we'll check in terms of our courses. So XPath will never be able to handle shadow DOM element.
Okay.
Okay. Again, one more request that whoever is new to the session today, please try to share your contact number and name so that we can provide you the document. All the people whoever joined yesterday, as I said, like you people will be getting the document. You will start getting the document after our third session. After our third session, you'll start getting the document. So for that, please share your contact number and name so that we can reach to you. Okay. Now, what is the second agenda in terms of our course today? So the second agenda is Playwright versus Cypress and Playwright versus Selenium. Let's see a few points that we have in terms of Playwright versus Cypress. So simple things that I have collected, which is like for the UI automation, Cypress. I'm so sorry, but can you please mute yourself, everyone, if you're not speaking? Thank you. So now if you try to see the difference between Playwright and Cypress. For simple UI application, it says that whenever you have a simple UI application, very simple, not a complex one, not a drop-down related, and not a major complexity, it says that Cypress is the best choice and good alternative is Playwright. That means Playwright will also be able to do this kind of thing. Cross-browser testing, Cypress has limited support. Playwright does work in a much better way. Cross-browser testing means running the same code on different browsers. Multi-tab and multi-domain test or cross-domain test is not allowed in terms of Cypress. Cypress will not support multiple browser or cross-domain testing, whereas Playwright will not. Playwright basically will allow everything to handle like multiple browsers, multiple domains, and so on. In terms of Cypress, multiple browser we'll be able to handle, but there used to be some kind of workaround. That means automatically Cypress will not be able to support multiple tabs or multiple browser. Performance testing I'll not talk about because that is not our part of course. But if you talk about performance testing is also being supported by the Playwright, whereas Cypress does not support that. API testing have a limited support from Cypress and have a fully support from Playwright. You can do your API complete API framework by using Playwright as well. File upload by download, again, there is a workaround needed. Cypress does not have any specific method which will handle the file upload and download. Playwright have specific method that it has given to handle the file upload by download in a proper way, in an easiest manner. Headless CI/CD execution and so on have a complete optimized support from the Playwright and have a limited support from the Cypress. And then there are something which is like API testing part of things, network mocking and interception. Playwright does support the complete API testing. Mobile emulation, if you see over here, in terms of Cypress, have a limited support that sometimes works and sometimes not work. But as we have seen recently, just now that whatever the test case that you write for the web browser, that also supports on the mobile specific browser as well. Like now we have in terms of Playwright using Selenium, if you see there are a lot of things, lot of differences. Similarity is language and browser support, which both of them supports the similar things. Execution speed used to be much faster in terms of Playwright. Why? That basically depends on the architecture of Playwright, which I'll explain in our next session regarding the architecture of Playwright. Okay, installation, in terms of installation, as I said yesterday, that setting up Playwright environment is 2 minutes of time, whereas setting up the Selenium environment used to be like at least minimum like 2 to 3 hours of time that you require, because you have to get the dependencies from Maven repository. From there you have to copy and paste inside pom.xml, right? Headless mode supported inside both of them. Wait mechanism that you see, we have to require implicit and explicit wait in terms of Selenium, whereas Playwright automatically supports those things. Parallel execution again by supported by both of the Selenium and Playwright. But in terms of Selenium, we have to take the help of third-party tool, which is either TestNG or JUnit. Cross-browser testing again supported by both of them. Frames handling, it used to be a bit complex in terms of Selenium. We have to switch to the frame, then go to the parent frame, nested frame, again come back to the parent. Built-in support have been given for Playwright inside the Playwright. API automation, Playwright does not support. Test retries, that means automatically running the test case. Selenium does not support automatically. It requires a retry logic by using iTest analyzer or iTest retry, which is one interface that are available. So we have to take the help. Test reporting, Selenium does not have any built-in. Playwright have built-in supports for the test reporting that we have just seen. Shadow DOM supports requires so sorry. For Shadow DOM supports, it requires a JavaScript execution. It has a native support. It says that a native. That means we do not have to do any specific things. Screenshot capture, again, it depends on third-party tool, which is commons.io. It automatically captured the screenshot on failure or whenever you try to run. Video recording need third-party tool in terms of Selenium and built-in supports for Playwright. So if you see in terms of Playwright versus Selenium, there are huge number of advantages that we have to work with Playwright. And this is why people are moving towards, this is why people and organizations are moving towards Playwright, even if they have a huge number of test cases that they have written using Selenium. As I had given you an example, my organization itself have migrated 11,000 test case from Selenium to Playwright till date. Okay, so this was the second. Let's see the few achievements that have been done by the previous batch student, which I believe I had given in our previous session as well at the last. Probably that might not be recorded, but let's see over here. Um, uh, for the people that have achieved the job from the last batch. So starting with this. So this is a person. This is a person who have received soon after, like completion of the course, he has received the job inside um, Consolidated Analytics company, which is available in Chennai. Now you might be saying, okay, this person have gotten a job. What is the main things that I'm trying to show you over here? So this boy, his name is Ahmed. He's from Kerala. I can also provide you the name so that you can connect with him if you would like to. This person was struggling to get a job from the last 10 months. Okay, last 10 months, and sometime he was struggling a job. After the completion of the course, in his first interview itself, you can see that this was my first interview for Playwright automation. Okay, and in the first interview itself, he cracked. Why did he crack and how did he crack? Because he was keep on practicing a lot, every concept. I had seen his code when he completed the assessment at the end. He had written 90 test cases in terms of Playwright. Second one, this one again, one of a person who have got 120% of high. Previously, it was close to 12 lakhs and then got 29 lakhs after completion of the course itself. This is again the feedback that have been given by the previous batch student. You can read it out. But anyways, like this will be recorded, so you can go through with that anytime. You can see the feedback that have been given by the people. These are few of the feedback which was compiled in a page, but there were a lot many from the people. This is one person. He was so happy that he got 125%. His salary was close to around 8 lakhs, I believe, 8 or 9 lakhs, and he got um, um, overall 26 lakhs. 9 lakhs was fixed, and then he had some kind of variable pay as well. Okay, so after the completion of the course, he got 26.5, which is again a huge achievement for the people. And then this boy is again one of a unique person. I've seen like he was trying to practice a lot. He was not only practicing, he was going beyond that. He was trying to do a lot many things, lot many experiment over there. He was trying to see like, okay, what if I do this kind of things instead of this? What will happen if I do so and so things? Okay, and you can see what is his achievement is. We have completed the session on 10th Feb, and his joining was on 24th Feb. He's saying like he has gotten job in gotten an offer letter from 6 different organizations, including PwC. PwC is a bigger organization, a much beautiful organization, much better organization. These are few of the students have pinged me in the last couple of days as well, which I have not compiled over here. Those are still available, but these are few of them which I just wanted to show you what is from the previous batch. Okay, so that's about the things in terms of our demo 2 session, second day of demo. Any question that you have or that you would like to ask, feel free to ask. Over to you, people.
Sir, installations and all, when would we start starting to do that?
In the next session.
Okay, from tomorrow.
Yes.
So, sir, from tomorrow only we'll be starting practicals. The theory was until today only.
So practical in the sense, we'll just try to set it up the environment tomorrow.
Okay. Sure. Thank you.
Great. Any other question from anyone else?
From tomorrow only the batch will be going to start, right?
Tomorrow will be just to show you the environment, installation of the environment and so on. The batch, regarding the batch, I believe like Kumar or whoever is in contact, they will tell you like when will be our batch is starting, because there are few of the festivals that are basically in my family. So for that, I'll be on leave for a couple of days in the coming week. I'll be on leave for a couple of days, which I've informed, and people should have posted inside our advertisement as well. But you can just connect with them, and they will give you the fixed timing of when are we starting the real batch, like real batch in the sense like real course content. Anyways, from tomorrow, whatever we'll be going through will be the starting point of our course itself, where we'll be going through with the installation part. Okay.
Okay.
Great.
So in this course, are you going to teach TypeScript as well?
Sorry, I did not get your question.
Are you going to teach TypeScript as well?
Yes. TypeScript will be taken care first, and then we'll move towards Playwright.
Oh.
So
Also,
first we'll
can
complete TypeScript. And,
yeah, share the Google Drive, please, for the documentation that you were showing.
yes. So that is why I requested you people to share your name and contact numbers so that we can provide you the document as well. Okay. I'd again request, if you have not provided, you can provide your name and contact number so that we can reach out to you. Okay. Any other question from anyone else?
So when will be the day to register? So I'll be also available to take a class like regularly from Monday. So is it okay if I attend the class until like this week and pay on Saturday or Sunday?
So you are saying that you will be able to attend the regular class from Monday onwards?
Yeah.
That would be okay.
Okay.
That would be okay. You can start it from the Monday onwards. Probably Monday I'll be on leave.
Okay.
Like in the next week, couple of days I'll be on leave.
Okay.
So whenever we start on the next week, you can join from
not a
there
problem.
as well. Great.
You will like make us to solve more problems also, right? Like hi, nowadays we are getting some interview. No need to focus on Selenium and all, right? Like I have one.
Correct.
I'll put one experience.
Yes.
And focus
Yes.
mostly on Playwright and the programs, right?
Right, right. You can just focus on Playwright and programs would be enough.
Okay.
Because nowadays market are moving towards Playwright. So most of
Okay.
the people will just say that if you have knowledge on Selenium, well and well. If you do not have, then there is nothing to worry about.
Okay. And we can get a good like pay also, right, on Playwright.
That is what I was trying to show you. Like few of the people, the highest CTC that have been achieved by
Mhm.
one of us was in November 2024, and he got 39 LPA till now,
In US
whatever I
market
got,
is
and that boy was having.
mm,
I'm
I'm in
talking about
US.
India. I'm
Okay.
ta- right. In even in US, even in US, you will get a good pay. Definitely,
Okay.
you'll get a good pace. And I believe like minimum starting, because one of my student have went to US and went to US from the same organization. So they have got around 95K dollar. Um, that was again less, but he was expecting like around 120. But the same organization had sent him in the United States. That is why they paid less. But I've seen people are getting more and more CTC
Okay.
over there as well in the United States.
And mostly like
Okay.
so yeah, yesterday you said you can help after the course completion, like to give my resume to consultants to market, right?
Right, right.
Okay.
So great. So that's about it. And then again, thanks a lot everyone for joining the session. I hope
Thank you.
this should be helpful to see the advantage of the playwright. And we'll see you again in our next session
Uh, hello, sir.
for the playwright. Yes, yes,
Sir, I
yes,
have
yes.
a
Go ahead.
doubt. Yeah,
Hmm.
basically, when we are working with Selenium, we write the element utility files are we write for the uh, f- uh, for our easy purpose. So in Playwright also, are we following the same thing or?
Okay. So whenever if you have seen, like we generally write a utility file to write few of the methods, like basically generating the log4j or initializing the log4j, writing the method to take this screenshot, writing the method to get the data from Excel. These are the things that we write in terms of utilities, right? These are few of the things
Okay.
that I mentioned over here. Those
Yeah.
things will
Also,
be those things will be handled in an easiest manner in terms of TypeScript and
yeah.
Playwright. So
Yeah, if we automate a very big page or something, are we split the page into object
yes,
or we are
into object, right, right, in
okay,
terms of the page object itself. In
okay,
terms of the page object itself. Let me see if I
okay,
have. So this is one of things that I have in terms of TypeScript. Let's see. This is one of the things that I have in terms of TypeScript where I have created a pages that you can see over here. We have declared few of the variables. This is for the TypeScript. So difference I was talking about. Someone asked in the initial stage that what is difference between TypeScript and JavaScript over here in terms of Playwright. So this is the difference. You have to declare a variable because TypeScript is a statically typed language. JavaScript is a dynamically typed language, so you do not have to declare a variable over here. Again, probably you will not understand right now. Once we go with the comparison, once we start with the course, you'll understand it in a better way.
okay. Thank you.
Great. Okay, then that's it for today. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining the session, and we'll again continue tomorrow. Great. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.